Привет из Дубая. С вами передача «Голубь мира», где разбираем крутые навыки. Спрашиваем на английском, отвечаем на русском. Подтягивайте язык или смотрите перевод в тайм-кодах. Let's talk about urbanism and let's start with the definition.
Urbanism is collective science which is assembled from different point of view to the modern city. We have a lot of layers. The city is like like a cake. For example, it is a ground with concrete. It is a tree and some pillars. There is electricity. There is hot water. There is Wi-Fi. There is a lot of different red lights and so on. And we should create the space is which is useful and comfort for everyone, with moms with babies, with fathers with bikes, with playing grounds, with some place with benches to sit and to feed голубей, those
Pigeons.
pigeons.
And when it comes to all of like putting those all of the things in one system, so probably it might be more about like a logistics or maybe even the ergonomics or maybe about the efficiency of the city. So can we look into the like all of the moving parts or fundamental blocks of the urbanisms in order to have like more comprehensive view?
Yes, if we'll talk about city, we should create so-called city building plan. And the bigger is city, the longest horizon should be taken into account. For example, if there is a city smaller than 1 million of citizens, inhabitants, it would be like 50 years. If it is more than 1 million, it should be like 100 years. For example, where to put new bus stops or subway stops, where to create green zones, where to put bicycles roads, where to create sports gardens for athletes and so on. And in this case, we also should understand that we will need more electricity. We will need more roofs. We will need more trees. We will need some more parking lots if we will build some huge shopping malls and so on. In this case, a lot of people working all together and create a lot of different drawing in AutoCAD or in same type applications, and they then try to make modeling. For example, let's put in the city 2 million inhabitants more. What will happen? Okay, we have a special time. For example, we will have celebration and it would be like a football championship. Let's make a model how people will go to the stadium and how they will go out. Okay, for example, we will have an Olympic games in our city. Let's take like 7 arenas, for example, one for фехтование,
Fencing.
one for fencing, another for example, hockey, another for swimming, and so on. And how it will work, where people will live. For example, if we talk about Dubai, I was working with a team who were developing like 15 years ago city building plan, and suddenly I realized, I was in this group, that at this time at Dubai it was like 2,000 of hotels and 55 shopping malls, and it was not a problem for roads, but it was problem how to give to everyone water, how to give everyone chance to use toilets and so on.
And actually, when it comes to the people who doing urbanism, it seems that probably the entry level might be quite high because you need to have like a multiple things in mind. So, what kind of skills and the knowledge you will need to have, and maybe the urbanisms actually could really, as you said, working in a team. For example, you have like the architect who just will design certain things, or maybe have a chief of certain department who would help with the, all of the supplements and the water and the roads, etc. So what are the entry levels and what and how the person can progress while they're working within the team?
When you will ask some students who are learn to be urbanist, they will tell you that like a diploma, they have a special task, for example, to create in their home city small block, kvartal, yes, small block.
Block.
Usually they use like not more than 8 houses. They also should put at least 2 shops. They should use parking lots. They should use a special place to go biking and so on. And it's take them like 6 to 8 months to create this. And if you will go to защита диплома, diploma protection,
Diploma protection could say so.
Okay,
Graduation is better.
sorry.
Maybe graduation or something like this.
Okay, to listen to their graduation work, you will hear how many questions will be asked by this commission. Those people, they ask students not because he or she they could improve diploma. They ask them to think about that they are not taking into account a lot of different things. Why you use so many electricity? Why you do not use special equipment to slow down lightning during late night and so on? So all students, they always think that there is plenty of water, plenty of electricity, and all people are organized enough to use everything correctly. But in real life, it won't work. Usually you have a lot of broken things. And, when you're waking up, you should brush your hair. The same with the city. A lot of different people, they're collecting garbage. They should making noise. All the shops, they use so-called gates. And if you, for example, want to give to the shop parsley or fresh bread or fresh milk, you should use the special roads. And these roads should be specially created, and they should be noise protected with some noise screen and so on. Because in other cases, people who are living around, they will appeal to the, for example, police and so on. So from one side, you could create a city which is looking nice, but if you will take into account all noises that it will be making by cars, all the smokes which goes from vehicles, you should use also so-called роза ветров, rose of the wind.
Rose of the wind. And when it comes to, like planning things that will work for once, is there any chance that they will be building all of those blocks with the idea in mind that in certain future there should be a room for mistakes, or there should be room for like a different scenarios, and how the urbanism actually treating the all of the changes that potentially could happen to the city?
It's very funny, but to create a completely new building in the city, it's almost impossible. If, for example, you are well-trained architect and you will try to create a completely brand new building and you will try to protect it, you should go to a different institute and to put a lot of signature on the paper. It's almost a task which is not impossible. But if you have state order to create, I don't know, a hospital or maybe stadium, it will be much more easier, because if state wants it, state will give several architects like a concourse, and someone would be chosen, and state will help to put this in life. But if you already built something and it is going эксплуатироваться,
to be exploited,
for example, for 10 years, then you should write special papers. Okay, suddenly we realize that we have not too much electricity, or we use plenty of water and so on. And then you could create from this building version 1, version 1.1. And in this case, you could take this like a Lego piece and to put it in an improved way in another place. For example, if you will go in Moscow and will see around, you will find that maybe, I don't know, maybe 300 of buildings, but they all are repeated. So you couldn't create completely new buildings. The longest way or longest term of building is using, the more often and more easy you will get a paper to build the same building, because it is already tested by the life.
It seems like some of the cities just like being stamped in order to, being developed. But when we look into the future, so how the future of the urbanism and hence the face of the city could be probably changed, because obviously, like there are things like a drones, or maybe and the drones also could be worked in a different area, or maybe there are different ways of, consume, deliver, or even the store the energy, or like any other goods. And people also probably also changing the habits. Maybe they will be sitting in the pods, and maybe the spots also might be moved entirely from city to city, or even to the country. So what probably one of the scenarios of the future may look like for the urbanism?
You know, there is no scenarios for urbanism, and the reason is why. Because people always fight each with other. For example, you have a dog. You want to have a dog playground. If I have a child, I want to be separated from the dog, but I want to have песочница, sandbox, and some carousels and close to my town, to my building. My neighbor is on bike, and he want to put it as loud as possible. Some teenagers, they want to play guitar and they want to use music. Some people want to go by skate. Someone want to use big jeep, and there are not so many space. Some people want to have trees. Some want to have garages close to their подъезд, entrance,
Probably the entrance.
the entrance in the building. So there is always fight. If you want a pond, you should maybe cut trees. If you want to have more electricity, you should use a special building which will make a special noise.
And when it comes to, like the thinking about like what might be the main problems that we could be dealing with in order to make the urbanism, develop more, what's probably they might be. For example, obviously, and even I can observe this, sometimes we realize that we do create a lot of trash. Apparently, it should be going somewhere, or maybe we consume a lot of the energy, which potentially also might be changing the way, like we live inside of the city, or some people actually trying to go into the center of the city in order to be close to their work. Hence, all of the suburban areas might be getting abandoned. So what are the major problems we potentially could solve with the urbanism?
The main problems for all the cities is almost the same. The center of the city is usually a zone for tourists, and there are a lot of work up there. For example, in the center, there is a small cafes, so small cafeterias, small shops, and they are quite expensive. They pay a very high rent, and they summon people from suburbs. So usually at 6 o'clock, the city is going to be like a bublik.
Probably donut.
Like a donut. So everything is wake up, but not too many people live in the city. So all these people from donuts ages will go by all the transport to the middle of the city, and also tourists will go. And in the middle of the city, it would be a huge consumption of electricity, water, and so on. But at the late night, all people will go back to their homes, and so this is like a wave. Our Earth is attracted by a moon, and has a tide like twice per day. The same with the cities. And if everything would be like a standard and all people would sit in the same place, we will use the same quantity of water, electricity, and parking lots. But we are moving all the time. There is a lot of good infographics in LinkedIn sometimes will be posted, for example, for New York, for Tokyo, for Istanbul, how people move around. And you will see that there is no place at any time where all people would be spread fairly. In some places, it would be too many people, too crowded, and in some, it would be too desert.
А мы рассмотрели навык урбанистика и чем он полезен именно вам. Всем мира.